Hi everybody, my name is Brady and I am a boy with a bird. And we are back with another edition of Flag Review. If you've hopped onto the channel since I stopped doing Flag Review so often, you may not have seen this series. It's kind of a joke, kind of serious, I don't know. The thing is, I look at flags and then I review them. I'm not really judging culture so much as aesthetic. I just am talking about what I like to see on flags, so it's very much personal, but I find it to be a whole lot of fun because it's been a great adventure in learning what I like to see in symbolism and stuff like that. So I found it to be a good old time. So we're doing another one on U.S. state flags. I have a playlist on my channel if you want to check out any of the previous flag reviews. I'm curious about where this is going to go. I believe we left off on Massachusetts. We just finished Massachusetts. I don't know what I graded it, but we're doing the next one. And we're doing this via Wikipedia, so we have no more West Sweden problems where I have issues with the image file saying one thing and then I'm getting the name wrong and I look like an idiot. We're not doing that anymore. We're just doing this straight off Wikipedia now. All right, let's get started. See what the first flag we're going to do is. So we got the flag of Michigan, adopted in 1911. That's another awesome thing about doing this via Wikipedia. I have when it was adopted. I don't know if that matters or if it's going to help the quality of the video, but we've got it. All right, so the style, it's very picture-y. And I like my flags to be a little bit more on the minimalistic side. There are some complicated flags that have appealed to me, but this one is definitely not doing it as much. I don't really like text on my flags. That's usually a big no-no for me. I like the symbolism to really tell me what you want me to think. And if you're having to write stuff down, I think the symbolism is kind of using the words and the writing as kind of a crutch to communicate what it's trying to do. This one, yeah, it's definitely not like the style that I like in an American style flag. It definitely varies from place to place. I judge European flags a little bit different from American because there's certain things that I want in an American flag that maybe I don't want in a European flag. This one's not doing it for me. I'm going to say generally not agreeing with the art style. Nothing really popping in particular. The text kind of dragging it down. Having that state seal look. It's just a state seal basically slapped on a flag, and that's not preferable. So I'm going to say no to this and give it a 1. Yeah, I feel okay about that. This is a 1 out of 5. I know what a lot of the next flags are going to be because we are doing these in alphabetical order. And beware, this episode's probably going to be a lot of low ratings. We have some similar themes we're going to be taking on today. All right, we got Minnesota. So I don't usually like the text on the flags, but this is a little bit smaller. It's a little less invasive, though it does definitely have that whole state seal vibe going for it. But it's not as bad. We look at this one here, the art style. I personally don't find this nearly as appealing. I think this style translates a little bit better, and having the more complex picture-y stuff be a little bit smaller is nice. I like the framing with these flowers. That's not bad. And this circle frame with like the little stars in it, that's not bad either. I think the color choice is generally pretty good. This is an interesting blue, and I think it goes well with the yellow. The yellow is broken up very well by the white, and I like the little red outlines around the stars. I think there's a lot going for this. If there's one thing worse, though, than having text on a flag, it's having the name of a place on its own flag. Oh, you're telling me that the flag has to tell me where I am. The imagery doesn't carry enough significance to tell me where I am. Ooh, that's not good. But this is definitely better than the last one. So if I gave this one a 1... I really like the color choice. That is one thing. And even when we get to the center and we start adding even more colors, I'm kind of down with them. They really incorporate a lot of the colors that have already been introduced towards the outside, and I think it's actually a little bit better. It breaks a lot of the rules of what I like, but I think this one is a 1.75. Nah, would I give it a 2? No, I'm not giving it a 2. I don't feel like it deserves a 2. It's a 1.75. It's definitely a little higher than this other one, but it kind of has a similar state seal problem. It just had much better color choice. And that's kind of the main thing that holds it up for me. I really like the color choice. Okay, here we got the Mississippi flag, and this is what's been holding up flag review. I was thinking, oh, I want to slow down. I want to do the flag of Mississippi next, and then it was just never coming. And it ended up being decided earlier this year, a little over a month ago at this point. We have the flag of Mississippi. I've had some time to think about this flag, so I think I'm ready to talk about it. Of course, there's the "In God We Trust" thing. I don't love that. I don't love text on a flag, and I don't like the fact that that kind of conflicts with my view on church and state. This is state-endorsed imagery, and I'm not really down with that. So that's even a little bit worse than having just regular text on it. It's becoming an ideological problem, but I'm going to try to separate myself from that a little bit because I really am just aiming more for imagery. So the text is as bad as any other text. However, I am okay with the color choice. I think I like the color choice of the previous one a little bit more, but this one, it's broken up all right. The red and blue being broken up by the yellow typically wouldn't appeal to me, but I think it's actually pretty good for some reason. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I'm down with that. And the ring of stars, I think that's fine. And the flower, it's a little bit clip arty, but I think that's all right too. And I've come to appreciate it more than I did the first time I saw it. I think the longer I see this flag, I tend to like it a little bit more. What it's got for it, it is a very modern looking flag. We have a lot of the previous flags, maybe not as much as this one, but this one feels a little bit dated at this point. It feels like it's about time for a new one. If I can look at the dates. This one's from 1911. The next one is from 1983, and it shows. This one does feel like it was made later on. And then you see this one, and I totally understand. I can just visually see that it's a newer flag. I like the star at the top. This is actually a nice little interpretation on a star that I really appreciate, and I believe somebody told me it represents the 5 native tribes in Mississippi, which, if that's correct, that's really cool. And I think it's just a different way to do a star. Break it up into 5 little pieces and pop it at the top, and it really makes it stand out. So I kind of like that too. This is definitely a passable flag. At first I was not as much of a fan of it, but I think it's grown on me a little bit. Even where there are problems, they can be improved rather easily. So I will give this one a 3.25. It's not perfect. I think the color choices could be better, but they're not bad. I like the star stuff they got going on, and the flower's okay. Like, I think it's definitely a passable flag. I'm going for that. It's cool. Alrighty, what do we got here? We got Flag of Missouri. This one's from 1913. And you can tell with how they draw these little pictures how old they are. Like, this kind of has a similar feel from the earlier one. When you get a little bit later, when you get to the second flag I looked at, Minnesota, this one's a little bit newer. The style's a little bit updated, and you may disagree with it, but you can tell it's a little bit different. You can tell it's coming from a different time. This one, I like it more than the first one. Even though there is kind of a similar style, this sort of seal thing we got going on in the middle, it doesn't really dominate the flag too much. And there are elements that I like. Of course, we have 3 stripes, horizontal, and they're broken up by a white stripe. That's perfect. It's the easiest thing in the world to do, and it's a great way to get a passing flag, though not necessarily the most exciting of flags. And I like the circle of blue that we got going here with the stars. I think that's kind of interesting. I'm totally down with everything until we get to this inner circle. And there are even parts of the inner circle thing that I am kind of okay with. Of course, I'm not really a huge fan of the text on the flag or whatever. But like this little star thing we got going here, this little... I'm not even sure what it's supposed to be. There's something there that I kind of like. I'm a little bugged by the fact that it's a different shade of blue. And I think it may be overkill on stars for a single flag. I think it just might be a little bit too much of star imagery with it being broken up and then you add more stars. I think that's a little bit too much. But I could see something like that working on another flag that may not have already leaned on the stars for this part. But overall, I look at it compared to this one here, and I don't think they're too far off. I really dislike this stuff right in the center. I don't like that nearly as much. I mean, it's kind of got the badass element, like, united we stand, divided we fall. Yeah, whatever, man, okay? That's fine, but I think it definitely flies better on a state seal than a state flag. I think this one's a 2.5. It really has a lot of elements that I like in the flag. It's just that middle part that really doesn't do it for me. But design-wise, I kind of appreciate some elements of it. And it's doing some stuff that's a little different. I like the circle of stars having its own color. At first I was thinking, oh, but it like matches this so perfectly, and then it goes up and it contrasts with the red. But for some reason, I don't dislike that. For some reason, I felt like I was supposed to, but I don't. I think it's okay. Now we got Montana. Okay, I don't like this one. 1981. Oh, this one's a little bit newer relative to some of the other flags. That's actually interesting because the imagery makes it look like it's even older than some of the earlier flags I've seen on here. It seems like this is one of the newer flags that I've looked at. Okay, that's interesting here. Of course, we got text on the flag, and we have the name of the state. Not just on the flag, but very prominent. This is usually a no-no for me. And it's just basically some sort of a state seal looking thing. I don't know if it's actually the state seal, but it's like in the kind of the design you would expect from a state seal. I don't personally mind a lot of the imagery, but it's not creatively incorporated. You can put anything in a circle and be like, hey, see, it fits in very well. But no, that feels kind of uncreative. I'm not really huge on that. Let me see some of these others. I want to look at the first one. I gave this one a 1. Do I like it more or about as much? Because I don't think I dislike it more than this, but it is on the same level. Let me go back to that. I think I dislike the other one more. It's just not as pretty. I don't know. It like the centerpiece, though it's crudely drawn, I don't necessarily hate that about it. It's just it doesn't necessarily excite me. It has a lot, but I don't like the way that it's incorporated. There's a lot of imagery there that perhaps could be worked into a flag in a better way. I'm going to give this one a 1.25. I don't really care for it, but it's a little better than the first one. Next. Oh, okay. We got Nebraska. This one's from 1963. Okay, this is just the state seal on a flag. I know that because it says Great Seal of the State of Nebraska. And we got the date. Lovely. 1867. And this flag was established in 1963. Let's try to say good things about it first. I like the minimalistic way of going about the state seal. I don't know if it's ever seen with more color than this. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't look into that stuff sort of intentionally, so not to, I guess, change my perspective on the flag itself. Like, I look into that stuff sometimes later. I like the minimalism. I like that it's just blue, this like goldish yellow, and then we have this gray, which I actually think that's pretty good. If it weren't in the form of a seal, I think the color choice would be pretty strong. And the seal, I kind of like how it's it has some detail to it, but it's definitely a little bit more toned down than some others. And I think that gives it a little bit more mystique than a lot of these state seal having flags that I've seen. But I'm still going to have to say it's not great. Do I like it more than this one? Probably, yeah, I think I do. I'm going to give this one a 1.3. I barely like it more, but it has things that I do like. Mainly the color choice. The imagery is fine. It doesn't do a whole ton for me. I'd say the color choice is kind of carrying the rating. I think that would be cool to have this shade of blue, this shade of yellow, and that little gray as kind of a breakup color, but like just not in this form. Nevada. This one was in 1991. I kind of see it. It's the imagery on it. It looks kind of clean. That's not necessarily a compliment. Sometimes that can be good. Sometimes that can mean it looks too much like a sticker. So we got a star. Stars are a bit overused, but whatever. We got the little ribbons, which I have a ribbon on my state flag, but I think that's probably the worst part of my state flag. Battleborn. Are you gray, Maine, or Battleborn? That's all I can think of. That's fun. But I don't necessarily think it applies very well to a flag. I don't mind these little bits of vegetation you use to like frame the bottom side of a flag. They're not great, but I don't think they're really the worst thing. I think they can be worked with. This does not feel like a very complete flag design. I feel like Nevada has a lot of implied personality to it. When I think of Nevada, I get plenty of thoughts. It's not like a blank slate. There are plenty of states where I could mention them and be like, wait, what do they have there? Nevada, I think I get a vibe from it, and I'm not really being told anything through this flag, which is kind of underwhelming. I was hoping for a little bit more. I think Nevada has kind of a national personality compared to some of the other states that may not be known outside of their own little territory. I'm not saying I want it to look like it's from Vegas, but it could be a little bit more exciting. The color choice is not bad. I think orange goes pretty well on blue. The fact that it's not centered would not necessarily be a problem in some other cases, but this feels like something that should probably be centered or really not done at all, preferably. I don't like that I'm being all negative in this one, but these just happen to be a bunch of flags that happen to not go with the aesthetic that I like. There are plenty of U.S. state flags that I do like. This one's just not doing it. Let me take a look back. Do I like it more than this one? I give this one a 1.3. Not that much more. It's not very fun. I think the other one, it's at least more interesting to look at than this one. This one's not very interesting. I'll give this one a 1.25. It doesn't do anything for me. Sorry, Nevada. I don't know. It's one of those days where I'm not giving a whole lot of credit to flags. Ooh, we got a flag on a flag, within a flag. Ooh, that's a fun one. And this flag's from 1931. It's the flag of New Hampshire. Okay, it's another seal. We got a lot of seal flags today. I'm not feeling that. Hopefully next time we can get some that are not. What's our next one? Okay, we'll finish off on this one. We'll finish off on New Jersey. Let's do New Hampshire first, though. We got this gold and blue thing. Honestly, I've seen a lot of these. This particular gold and this particular blue, and over the course of this one video, I've kind of started getting bored of it. That's a very quick turn on some decent colors, but honestly, I feel like I'm seeing too much of it at this point. So I'm going to try to be aware of that and try not to let that bias me against it. I think the imagery in the middle, even though it's a seal, it's simplistic enough. I think it does have that going for it. I think having it lean a little bit more simplistic can be good. It still has a lot going on here, but like I get it. We got a sunrise and a ship, basically. That it doesn't take that much to describe what's going on in here. So let me look at this last one. This one was a 1.25. I feel like I like this one a little bit more, but another case of a little more but not enough. I'm going to give it a 1.3. These state seals on flags just... if that sort of style inherently is something I disagree with, we're going to get a lot of similar answers in this. So, yeah. Let's keep moving. New Jersey. This feels, this is interesting. Now that I've seen a lot more European flags, I see which flags in the U.S. seem to have little bits of European influence. And this one definitely has a little bit of it. Is that like a bonnet right over here? Let me zoom in just a little. That's interesting. The style. Let me go back. What year did this get set? Oh God. Sorry guys. It has to take a second. Yeah, there we go. Okay, this one. Oh, this flag is old. That explains it. It's 1896. I can see that. For the older flags, I think it's a little bit too much. This is the sort of imagery that I think America has kind of passed, and a lot of these older flags have sort of clung on to a little bit longer, and might be time to modernize a little bit of the imagery. I know a lot of people don't like to do that, but I think flags should be subject to change a little bit more often with the whims of the people and what they represent at the time. We, of course, are going to have plenty of designs that are simple and timeless, but when you're going for stuff like this, I think the states should have a little bit more room to play around with their flag designs. I think keeping a flag design for over 100 years for a state is both impressive and maybe unnecessary. I know people are attached to their traditions or whatever, but also, as far as flags go with this style, I don't hate it as much as a lot. Let me see. I don't know. It has elements of a state seal. I mean, you could just put it in a circle and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a state seal. Stylistically, it feels like. I assume it is. Or this sort of imagery that comes out, or something similar comes out of the state seal or something. I don't know, man. It still can't really break 1.3 for me. That's what we got today, man. As far as flags go today, there's some I've definitely liked more than others, but a lot of these were very similar. The one that... This one was kind of fun. One that stood out to me was the Mississippi flag, and it really shows that my taste in flags actually skews a little bit more towards modern design. And at first, I didn't love this flag. But I guess, in the words of Ben Franklin, I'm not convinced that I will never like it. or love it, or whatever he said. It was one of those things, and I've been moved on it after looking at it a little longer. Of course, obvious disagreements with some choices made here, but I appreciate the modern design. I appreciate it trying to do some new things. I really like this star. I don't know if that's been done in different places, but this particular element, it's small. It's a very small detail, but that feels so cool to me. It's a really cool addition, and it's a fun little way to make a very old concept of the Ring of Stars a little bit more interesting to look at. So I guess I can appreciate that the flag is doing something that is different, at least from my perspective. If it's been done before, I haven't seen it. Okay, this was fun. It's fun doing flag review again. I know it's not the most popular series on the channel, but there's a small subset of people who like it. So I like to do it every once in a while, and I've actually learned a thing or two kind of by accident. Even though this is the least educational series I've ever done, probably, it's one of them. Even though it's an incredibly uneducational series, I've accidentally learned some things about the flags that I've ended up reviewing. So I've gotten something out of it, so I'm down to keep doing it. So let me know if there are any flags you want me to check out, certain sets of flags and stuff, or individuals. I eventually will go back and take individual suggestions. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. And oh yeah, one other thing. I was thinking about incorporating an element of like the tier list format. I tried doing my first tier list not that long ago. I was thinking about perhaps going back and reevaluating some of the flags that I've already looked at and see if my mind has changed at all in them. And in that sense, I guess I would reevaluate sets of flags in the form of a tier list to give like the final judgment on them. And I think that would be cool because I look at some flags like the Mississippi flag, and it's grown on me. My taste has changed since starting this series significantly. So I think it'd be cool to go back and reevaluate some stuff in a different form, but only if you guys are interested in seeing that. I don't want to do it if you guys don't think that would be fun. So thank you for watching. Like this video if you like this video. Subscribe for more every week. Not flag review. Flag review is special now. But yeah, I'll be hopefully doing flag review a little bit more often than I've been doing. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.